What is up, Trader Gang? I don't normally do this, but I am live in Chicago and I have a very special guest for you all today. We're going to be talking about futures, funded trader programs, the traits of successful traders, the traits of losing traders, and more. I have with me today Michael Patak, the founder and CEO of Topstep. Thank you for being here with me. I'm glad we made this happen.
Lance, I'm very glad. I mean, I love this between two ferns type of feel right here.
Yep,
I love it.
A lot of comedy. We've got Zach Galifianakis in the back.
In.
You know, he's going to make fun of your lemon ginger tea. But,
I mean, I did have to go with that for the sore throat. But
hey,
yes.
Look, you know, I can't throw hate. Actually, I can. So everybody knows how this started and how our close friendship has begun. You know, back in the day in Twitter, which is the modern day Roman Colosseum.
So yelling, saying it, it just starts the conversation is what I like to say.
Exactly. And I didn't know you. I was familiar with Topstep. I was familiar with the funded trader programs. And I had a lot of negative biases towards these programs. And so I did the only action a reasonable person can take on Twitter, which is, you know, I tried to dunk on you and belittle you and make fun of everything you do. I'm Lance Brightstein, verified 8-figure trader, and I've created a course that is my legacy to the trading world. It is the most comprehensive trading course ever created, and there is nothing else like this on the market. This course has all my advice on how to shorten the learning curve as a trader. In which, to counter my mature professionalism, you had the immature, childish reaction of saying, hey, Lance, like, how about we just have a convo and speak about this like adults? And I'm like, oh, God, like, come on, man.
So boring.
Like, oh, yeah. Really, dude? How do you expect this to go viral? You're not going to help my followers.
It's not going to be clicks. No clickbait there.
Yeah, and so then I was going to hop on Topstep TV. I was going to throw some punches. I was going to be like, boom, down with the whole industry. I told you, man. And this led to us having a mature, friendly, civil conversation, which does, I guess, occasionally exist. And truth be told, you changed my mind on the funded trader programs. And so I guess the other thing I would say is we come from the same background. You started trading props. So why don't you tell everyone kind of how you got involved in the industry and your background?
Well, just really quickly, I came from Nebraska and we used to watch corn prices. And so I wanted to become a trader after watching the movie Trading Places and being around corn prices and my uncle telling me that, hey, sky's the limit. When you, as a trader, he worked for Merrill in Denver. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that. So I lost three $30,000 real money trading accounts, had a vending company from the age of 18 to like 23. So that's really my baptism by fire in the very beginning. It's like, I just went straight to the markets, knowing nothing but had capital. And I ended up knowing a little bit more, but no capital. So I came to Chicago, got with a prop firm, and they go, hey, you're hired. You're going to trade a one lot. You're going to trade on sim only. You're going to show us a $300 daily average over a 2-week time period without ever hitting your $300 daily loss limit. If you hit your $300 daily loss limit, you start over of us evaluating you. And that little regimen routine that like really instilled the importance of trading on sim. And I remember going to him, I'm like, one lot, I can only trade a one lot. He's like, I trade much bigger than that. And he leans up to me, he's like, there's a reason why you're sitting here. You're sitting here asking to get backed. And if you traded well with your own capital, you don't ask to get backed. And there's a lot of traders, much like my path. And I ended up going through that. My path as far as a failure to that moment in time. But then I found the importance of a sim with this prop firm that says if you do that 60-40 split, I had to pay like $1,200 desk fees and things like that still too. But I got to sit there with other traders in this turtle trader type of room. And we all traded the YM when the YM first came out in like 2002. And that's really like where I've developed skills and managed my emotions and the behaviors and controlled my behaviors much better as learning on a sim. And learning to get locked out once you get auto-liquidated. So that whole story there then warps into, I started trading on the floor with my own money, left the prop firm, traded really well. And then in 2009, I'm like, you know, there's got to be more talented, more disciplined, more, hungry people out there. I used to call them like kind of mini-me's. I want to find the mini-me's that like went out there and they just gave it their all and they became a good trader. I'll back them. We used to see it all the time in the trading pits. Somebody would back, they'd have like 4 clerks, the big guys, and then the clerks would graduate towards getting backed by the big trader. And that's kind of the whole model. So you were always backing somebody. And then we're just like, we're going to take this and make it so the world can show us that they can trade, show themselves that they can trade without risking their kids' college fund. And then we're going to put them on a live account and back them.
And so even for your own learning, it's funny because I started at a prop firm called Trillium, equities rather than futures. And if it wasn't for that in-office experience and also that mentorship, I don't think I would have had a career just because it's so tough. And
it's so tough.
When you were building your own strategies and starting to develop, how much would you attribute to just the education and mentorship that you got, and would you have otherwise done it on your own?
Well, I excelled much better the minute I got to a prop firm around other traders. Because prior to that, I was a Nebraska kid that moved to California, had a vending company in California and in Nebraska, imported juice from Mexico and sold it in vending companies. You know, that was but I was not around anybody that knew trading. I couldn't talk to anybody about trading.
Yep.
And it wasn't really like the chat rooms, you know, it was the AOL days back then, you know, like, so. It wasn't until I came to Chicago, sat with a prop, there's 20 other guys in the room, and you'd be like, oh, that guy just busted out today. He's done. And you can see how mad he was, and you'd be like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to get, you know, so, and then he'd talk and be like, oh, this market, it has me today. And then you start to understand that the market, you know, there's the giveth and taketh the market does. And then you start to understand how other people trade. You start to understand how the good ones manage their emotions and the people that never catch on and find success in that little prop group, you know, because they would rotate that desk. If there's another, you know, if that person busted out and they kept trading shitty, they would eventually just quit.
And what I also find interesting, because one of the big questions I was going to ask is what brought you into futures as opposed to equities or anything else?
I started in equities, and that's where I lost the $90,000 in total. I used to go to TD Ameritrade. I was a Ameritrade at the time, and drop off checks. Nobody ever stopped me and said, "Hey, you're not trading very well. You shouldn't deposit."
And that's an interesting point you're raising right there, because some of the gripes and the criticisms I had against these programs revolves around stuff like that, like safeguards, when a lot of the counterpoints I had gotten from people was, dude, like normal brokerage accounts don't have safeguards either.
Yeah.
Like you're dreaming.
Nobody has ever slowed you down. There's no, you know, like, hey, you're trading poorly. Why don't we talk about this and this and this? You know, Topstep's really, the program has really been about, hey, let's help you here. Let's slow you down here. We have limits in there that we put with people if they reset too many times in a day. They're stopped from doing that. And they're like, well, you guys are there for the money or whatever. Well, no, we're there to help you become a better trader. And that longevity game is better for you, for us, and for the industry. So with brokerages, and Topstep is going to be moving to having a brokerage here. And the brokerage is going to help out traders to you know, slow down when you need to slow down, or be incentivized to trade with more risk type of conscious, whether it's however we're going to come out with those incentives at the brokerage level, but brokerages never slowed you down, and they're transactional by nature. And I think that needed to change because it's really about helping them perform better. And then that in the end should help out everybody.
Yep. And so around 2009, you start this.
Yep.
Am I correct that it was pretty much like a new concept?
Yeah, it started off as just my name, Patak Trading Partners. And I'm like, I'm going to find trading partners. And we called it like a scouting agency, and we put job postings that said, show us you could trade and we'll back you. Same type of job posting that like Turtle Trader.
Yeah, I know all that.
Yeah, and same type of thing as that. We put it in the Yale, at like Chicago schools, Northwestern schools, Nebraska schools, Iowa State, where I went to. And people started coming in. They wanted to trade. We didn't charge anything. And we just found out there's a lot of people that wanted to trade, but trading is extremely difficult. To find a Michael Jordan of trading, is what we used to always call it. It's very, very hard. Michael Jordan tradings either don't exist, or they're very rare, or they don't need funding because they're already doing well.
Yep.
But there's a ton of people out there that have desire to get better. And how do you then, so that's when Patak Trading Partners turned into Topstep. And Topstep was a recruiting an evaluation, experiential learning platform.
And one thing I heard as I was just doing some of my research, can you explain where the name Topstep came from? Because I actually really love that.
Yeah. In the pits on the trading floor in Chicago, they're octagon shaped, and the very top step is reserved for the best traders. You can't just go in there and say, hey, they're like, why are you standing at the top step? You have to register on it, or you had to be the biggest, pretty much the biggest trader in the pit, because you have the line of sight with another top step trader on the other side because they're on the top step. And then the bottom step in the pit is where your smaller traders are. One lot, I'll say 100, over there. So eventually I went from the bottom step to the top step in the Dow futures pit. So then when I came, hey, we're going to create this program to help people learn and develop and grow. And at the same time, if they're kicking ass, we're going to back them. We're going to call it Topstep. So it started off as Topstep Trader. Then we bought Topstep Domain, and now we're Topstep.
So I'm going to bring up some of the criticisms I had about these programs. And I'd love to also hear like what you think the genuine red flags are. Like obviously, look, we have no affiliation together.
Yep.
And there's a lot of funded trader programs out there, and more by the day.
They're more and more by the day. The
proliferation of these has blown my mind. When I was a professional trader at Trillium, I had never heard of any of this. I did not know this whole ecosystem existed. Then once I got immersed in kind of gen pop retail world, I was like, holy shit, like this ecosystem is massive. Some of the Apex figures, like my head explodes. I can't even imagine this stuff. And so when I started to learn about this, a lot of my criticisms were some of these programs had crazy restrictive rules. Some of these programs had rules that mandated trading frequency and stuff. Some of these rules restricted your ability to change strategies and all that. It restricted which products you could trade. And the thing is, like, my general view as well is that futures in the aggregate can sometimes be more efficient than stocks, right? Like you have GameStop, AMC, a bunch of tickers just going crazy all the time. You've got Tesla that's super volatile, and you have so many headlines moving stocks, whereas futures, in my view, can be in play and can have nice opportunities, but a lot of times you get a lot of noise, which requires a different strategy or being hands-off. And then you get some of those mixed incentives with some of the affiliate marketing and everything else. And I found that a lot of people were ending up playing a rigged game where the rules were restrictive. They're seduced by the marketing, and so many people were doing such damage to themselves where it's like, look, I understand that you don't have capital, but buying a lottery ticket ain't the optimal strategy otherwise. And you can just be refining your strategy in demo for free. And the only people should be doing these combines are people that have already built up their process and stuff. So I threw a lot at you. That was my whole spiel. I can discuss what places you changed my mind, but what's your first reaction?
My first reaction is if it's not clear on what your expectations are to get funded and what your expectations are to get a payout, if that's not clear and objective, not subjective, then I think that that firm has the right to put any rules that they want in place. And hear me out. If you tell a trader, hey, have an average winner greater than an average loser and be right 50% of the time, that to me is you're setting them on a good path. That's a carrot that you just threw out there. So if you go achieve that stat, you will get backed. We used to have that back in the early days. We used to have a lot more rules, and there are rules that like, hey, if we can get everybody's metrics, that they're working towards their metrics, and they get them up to here, we'll back them. And that really was very popular in the very beginning because we had serious traders. Like when I say serious traders, guys that like the core group that's came to like Topstep or they started this funding industry of like interest, saw that there was a real problem. And if I can get my stats on the right side and they're passionate about their trading and developing. So that was the focus there. And then as the more props came in, the rules got looser and looser and looser. So then that to me is now, where we're like one step, one rule. Okay, one step, one rule. And that's our like little, call it the marketing way of like, this is one step, this is one rule. But when we say this, we also have to balance out that it's not super easy and you may struggle, but there will be some people that will come in here and do it. So you kind of like, you respond to the market as the market starts to get more players in it. And now these players are hobbyists or they're just, very new. So all that being said, if you have a clear path, then, and your program is about setting them up for success and then putting them on a live account, I think you're going on the right path. That's where the industry needs to go. But if it's subjective and you don't know what's going to happen, if you're going to get approved or denied, you're crossing your fingers. You don't know if they're solvent or not. It's a fly by the night. You don't know, like, I think all that, it just needs to be watched a little bit as far as like what what and who is out there, and then we all talk as a community. And I think that's what is happening is people are talking as a community.
So sometimes online I'll see different firms, like I won't name them, I don't need to start any drama, but like I'll see a lot of funded traders where they end up taking to the internet, they're like, hey, my payout's stuck. And they're like, I submitted my verification, this was all earned legit. And especially there was one notable case that I saw like a couple weeks ago, and I helped kind of amplify it. And this trader ended up getting paid out big money. You know, we're talking 7-figure check. But it was stuck in limbo for 30 months, and it only unclogged once it got the viral social presence. Do you think some of these firms intentionally try and weasel out of payments, or like try and like find loopholes, or just kind of create gates to prevent the payouts?
I think that that's something that you could do if you wanted to do it. I don't know exactly if that's what they're doing. I don't spend too much time on it, but the court of public opinion, that is the internet, shows these certain things. And I think that that's good to kind of share and expose, but I don't want any prop firm to fail. I want prop firms to deliver on what they say they're going to do. I like the big ones. The competition's competition. That's no problem. I think they're all camps, in my opinion. Like the the MMA has like different camps where you go train out of. And I used to work. It was Jake Lawler, I think, out of Bettendorf, Iowa, and like that's the camp where he went and trained out of. So like if you're going to go to Topstep, this is how we train here. This is how we think. If you're going to go to the other firms out there that you mentioned and whatnot, they may do things a little bit different. Maybe they don't care and they just give you free reign to all this, but then you're in limbo and you don't. I just think things need to be clear and posted. You can't change rules on current, and you should always offer it for new. You can't be aggressive in your marketing. Things like that, like registered companies like introducing brokerages and all that have to adhere to how they market and how they hold themselves out and all that kind of stuff. If you're going to talk about winning, you talk about losing.
Which I think is important too.
I 100% think it is. So there's that. What I don't like is ones that just come in that they don't have any regulatory guidance, legal counsel, and it just feels like they're just, we call them mom and pops. They just popped up and they have something that's a new shiny toy, and it just looks better and you just don't know. But again, I'm all for competition. I'm all for these companies growing strong. But all you have to do is really just be transparent and deliver on what you say you're going to do. And there are times where it does get difficult because you either have a network that's trying to come in here and trying to take advantage or exploit the valuation to get funded, or you have these things are always popping up. So like you see these prop firms getting compliance departments or fraud departments or risk and expanding those. Those departments have grown massively because the industry is growing, but then there's also people that want to come bad actor both on the active trading side. And then there's people that are very serious. Majority of people, 99% of the people with us are serious about trading. Yeah.
And so some of the stuff that I think changed my mind when we spoke, and I think is important, a lot of the decision-making and the judgment that I had was based on everything in a vacuum, where it was like, essentially, okay, if people aren't going to be passing these combines with some reasonably real probability, they're just playing those lottery tickets. And a lot of those people, I'm living in Miami now. You run into so many people that are futures traders, like part-time. Really? And it's like, oh my God, dude, you don't know what technical analysis is. You have no business even wasting. And some of these people are losing $1,000, $2,000 a month. That's a lot of money. And so for me, I was really like, oh my God, this is causing so many harm, and this ecosystem's massive. And it's like, wow, I know how hard the survival rate is. And it's like, if you're not doing this as a true, if it's a hobby, fine, whatever.
Yeah, if it's a hobby, fine. Then there are people that just want to just come play the markets in that way.
And that's fine. And so what really changed my mind though, is I was thinking oh my God, all these people are being harmed versus otherwise. And what really changed my mind is a lot of what you said is it's like, Lance, you need to compare this versus what would some of these people be doing otherwise, right? And you've told me so many stories of look, these people could be losing 10,000, 13,000, 15,000 more in a brokerage account. Yes, a brokerage account has regulation, but you're like, look, for a lot of this, you're risking $50 on a combine. We've got safeguards in place. We've got guardrails. Like we kick, if somebody's showing these gambling tendencies, we're kicking them out of our population because we don't want that either, Lance. Like that's not good for us. I'm like, okay, that's understandable. And so one other thing I saw, which was interesting, is another, controversial figure, Tim Sykes. Like Tim Sykes has a bunch of haters, and I will not opine, one way or the other. And like, so many people are like, oh, the marketing this, the marketing that. He told me a story where, like, he advised the trader that was new to this, was like, whoa, you only want to be sizing so much less than what you're doing. This person, she ends up blowing up her account, and she ends up like reaching out to him and was like, wow, like if I didn't listen to you, her account, she was trading with her whole essentially life savings. Really? She would have blown like $300,000 rather than a couple grand, because a lot of people don't know better. And it's like, wow, like think about Wall Street Bets and all those people that are blowing up those big accounts where it's like, wow, like Lance, like the alternative isn't, oh, tee-hee, I'm going to be safely in demo and passively invested in the S&P. The alternative is I'm going to be YOLOing options. I'm working with a trader right now who was a very successful futures trader, ended up getting access to a larger pool of money, ended up blowing hundreds of thousands of dollars before they really should have. And it's like, okay, like compared to stuff like that, there's so many of those stories out there where it's like, Lance, like you need to take the reality of where people are at and recognize that this might actually be a safer way and you're wrong.
Well, if you took out, just to say if all props went away, this whole concept went away, and then you still have the traditional route that was there, go open up a brokerage, use the demo for 14 days or a month and get comfortable with the platform. You haven't developed skills. You haven't given them experiential learning. You're going to throw them in the deep end. There has to be still a better way. So props to me are a better option. If you are aspiring to become a trader, if you are trying to understand it without risking what I did, $90,000 or your kid's college fund to go straight into the brokerage account. Now, in the end, you have to be preparing these guys and putting them on live. That's, to me, if you don't do that, then you're just keeping everybody in the sim world. That's not for the benefit of creating better speculators that are creating liquidity in the futures market, which is the whole reason why you have speculators in the futures market to help create liquidity. Now you're creating better ones. And I think props at least give people the ability to stop for a second and focus on their downside. Yeah. Because like, oh, I can't lose this, or else I lose the account. I can't lose this amount. And then when you start to look at your downside and protect your downside, that's what I think the value of what and then you have this experiential screen time that you're getting. And if you do well, you get like this opportunity to keep your profit. That to me keeps you motivated to become better. And to me, that's the value that the props bring as just a new, unique opportunity.
Yeah, and what I find interesting too, right? Even using yourself as a case study, you blew $90,000. Yeah. That's a ton of money. Most people will never have that in their life.
I had a vending company I mentioned to you. I had to shut the vending company down to cover the $30,000 because I borrowed it against my inventory and I owed $15,000. And it was just like, I was chasing bad money, chasing bad money. I wasn't getting smarter as a trader until I went to Chicago, got with a prop firm, and they said one lot only. And I said, what? They're like, one lot only if you want to sit in that desk. And then I learned to slow down, and I learned to have a new perspective and a new respect for trading on a sim environment. If you can't fly an airplane on a flight simulator, I'm never riding with you because you're going to kill yourself and whomever's in your So if you don't have any experience, you're going to kill your account.
Well,
gaining that experience is really important.
The other thing that really resonated too, and I didn't have a great answer to this other than people would say, well, Lance, we don't have this access to capital or to these environments otherwise. And I was like, look, well, if it's a casino, that's like saying, oh, what's my alternative to going to the casino? The alternative is just don't gamble your money, don't buy the lottery ticket. Yeah. And if you're part of that gambling subset, I think that is actually a legit answer. If you're just doing this as a YOLO, whatever, and you're just gambling and not taking it seriously,
there is a percentage.
Yeah. For that percentage, it's the answer is don't go to the casino. But then if it's hey, Lance, I don't have a college education. I'm from a country that's not the US without these trading jobs. Mm-hmm. I don't have the pedigree to make it to a legitimate, brick and mortar proprietary trading firm, then it's like, this is the only way I have the chance to access those sums of capital and grow. And I'm like, okay, it was like, my answer wasn't sufficient. And the more I've interacted with the retail trader, it's like, okay, like this does actually make sense for people. And I know people that succeed on these programs. And for those, it's like, wow, this is like game changing. You can make huge sums of money without this. And there are such a huge chunk of population where you don't have a college degree or you don't have the pedigree. I have one friend, a Chicago trader. He was incarcerated, and after that, he taught himself trading, and he's been phenomenally successful. But to get the starting capital and find a career otherwise, it's super tough for people that otherwise want a shot at it. So I'm like, wait, I kind of get this now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the value prop that it provides that wasn't there. Again, prior, you had to have money sitting there and be like, all right, I'm willing to go in the market with all this money. And that's, to me, that's kind of dangerous. I did it, and it cost me a lot of money. And I wish I would have had like a Topstep type funding industry around in 2002, well, 1997 when I first started trading, that really would help me learn and then open up the opportunity to earn with them but I didn't have that then.
Yeah. And so I think like based on all that, now I want to hit you with the questions that I think the people are going to care the most at.
Okay.
So first of all, what do you think are all the green flags people should look for in the funded trader program? What are all the red flags?
I'll just go really quickly on the red flags. I still think it goes back to the clear and objective path to wherever it is. If you're taking me here, clear and objective. So I think that's very important. The ones that are doing really well are leading with education. They're leading with giving you information and investing in resources to help you become better. Call it a TV network that I've seen, ones that are popping up on for their own firms. Or just the education course that they wrap around it, or who they partner with to provide education, or the investment that they put in for coaches and whatnot. Those are the ones I really like, because that's just like going to like Michael Jordan's camp. Like that's a good camp. Like that's what we always say. Like we want Topstep to be like Michael Jordan's camp. Like you want to go be the best. And they have the drills make sense. They have great, everybody in there has the right attitude, and they're all working really hard. I think that's really important to have a strong community too. So, but the red flags, I think, still just comes back down to if you're not transparent and you're not clear on what's expected of you when you come here, and what in return the prop firm is going to do for you or provide for you, then I think that's a red flag.
Yep, got it. And so now let's get into trader specifics. What are the qualities that you see that lead to successful trading? And how long does it take the average trader to get real payouts?
To get real payouts and to get, we have a stat that we're just launching that an account, a combined trading account has like a 14% pass rate. So that's just one time 14%. But we have, in a 1 year time span at Topstep, we did it, and 48% of people eventually pass the combine if they give it a year. So that's kind of a picture at it. If they give a year of account, call it 12 accounts, or call it account a month or something like that. So that's really a stat, and we'll be sharing that more as we roll it out here. We're putting it in quite a few areas just to let people know. But the failure rate of 95% of people, like that to me it's always been there. Like props didn't come in there and create a new failure rate. If anything, they should be helping the success rate, because they're giving people more of a chance to learn. And the failure rate's been around forever, and props just put their programs on top of the market. The market's difficult to trade.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to trade. So in general, like when somebody makes it to a payout, I mean, I always look at it, and we'll share more of the stats, but that same stat exists. But if you say 12% of people pass, I'd say, around 10% of people at the funded level get to a payout. And then 10% of those that take payouts take them consistently. So it just keeps going down, like, top of the funnel, so to speak, of like people come in here, they try out, all the way down to a live funded trader with the trading prop firm capital.
And so what do you see as you've got to know these traders personally and everything else? What do you see leads to those that find the most success?
Patience. The one they don't have to make it overnight, and they live to trade another day. They slow down. Their emotions aren't controlling their behaviors. They're mature. They have limits that they set on themselves. They shut it down, know when to shut it down when they're up. They know when to shut it down when they're down. They're spend a lot of time in studying and understanding themselves and getting their mindset straight. Those are the things that when you see individuals like that, you're like, they're going to stick around. And they're base hitters. We call them base hitters. They're like steady traders. There's not like huge YOLOing and then, blow out, YOLO, blow up. That's short term. We see that quite a bit because people think it's the quickest way to just have all in and then if it hits, it hits. That's not you're not training yourself to be a better trader. That is like a gambling type mindset. If it hits, it hits. Here's go red. Walking by the roulette table. Okay, why not? But going in there and understanding the game and how to play it, that's really important. That creates longevity and that creates consistent payouts. We always say get funded, stay funded, and take consistent payouts is really your goal. And we're going to help you try to get there the best we can. So that's kind of the things that we're doing.
Then what do you think separates the traders that are the mega stars?
I don't know. I could ask the same thing to you because you probably we haven't had when you get to we have 6-figure traders, and we know that traders have big aspirations too, and they want to get to 7 figures. Some can, some can't. I was never a 7-figure trader a year. I was mid 6 figures as a trader, trading on my own, and that to me and the head guys around me that were 7-figure traders. I couldn't process those days. Those days were painful. It was uncomfortable. So when I tried to be like them, my account would start to take a hit, and I'm like, look back, I'm like, the last month I'm trying to, trade this size and I'm not trading that. So, but when I trade this size, 2 to 5 lots and I'm in and out and I know my risk and I just go in there and I get base hits and doubles and base hits and doubles and base hits and doubles and base hits win ball games. So that's kind of the grinded out, gritty type of way of trading. That's what I saw work. That's what I saw work the best, in the long run.
Yep, got it.
What suits you so you can stay in your own swim lane, and who cares what about everybody around you? You got to figure out yourself. And those are the ones that we see excel the best. Is
there any commonality in strategy that you find leads to the most success for people? Are people doing a wide range of strategies?
They do. Everybody does a different. That's kind of the cool part. When we first started, we're like, we're going to give them a platform that they can. We'll give them the bat, ball, and glove, and you just go out there and show us you can play ball.
Yep.
And that's what the trading combine was really, the concept was about. It was like from the NFL combine. We'll be in the bleachers. We'll be watching you, and we'll be taking notes, so to speak, with your trade report. And if you're doing well, we'll call you up to the big leagues. And that's really the opportunity that got excited, is that type of play. But yeah, I mean, that's something we've been doing.
And so how much of trading strategies then are most scalping super short term? Because I think a lot of the stuff, it's all intraday, correct? And
yeah.
Will there be people that are holding for hours, or is it just a lot of minutes, seconds?
Well, what's funny is there's not one thing, because I go on Topstep TV, but then I watch it, and then we go on there, and shoulder tap is a segment that we talk about the traders that are doing poorly and what they're doing.
Shoulder tap, that's great.
Yeah, we call it shoulder tap. It's you know what I'm talking about. At the prop firm, if you got the shoulder tap, you
time to explain yourself.
Time to explain yourself, so now we know. So that is, the shoulder tap talks about the things that the traders that are unsuccessful for the day or for the week or just blew up an account, what they are doing. But I mean, people are across the board, and then we do the opposite of when somebody comes on, it's a rising star in our segment. It's called Rising Star. And it's hey, we got Kyle. He's number 67 on the leaderboard, holds his trades for, 3 hours, trades NASDAQ, win ratio of 500, loss ratio of 250. There's a 2-to-1 there. We like to see that. We see a lot of people, and we did the stats on it. People that have pretty much a 2-to-1 risk to reward tend to be the best traders. That's the risk to reward that we see as far as trader type. If it just was risk to reward, you have to be right 40% of the time for a 2-to-1 to be profitable.
Yep.
So
reward to risk.
Reward.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
I don't want people to get confused there. But
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
Yes. So that's probably the high level stat that we see is that risk to reward ratio. So that just means if you're risking $100 to make 200, you have to be right more than 40% of the time. So that kind of is something that we share too. So we're sharing all these stats of what people do, but it's across the board. So some people hold it for minutes, some people hold it for hours. We don't have people holding it for days.
Do you know, and feel free if you can't share this or whatever else, do you know what has been your most paid out trader? Like I know from some of these programs, people make millions, but has anybody made like 10 million plus?
No, not 10 million plus. No.
But people are taking home millions.
No, in the mid six figures, and then getting up to $1 million. Yeah. And you start to see more of them start to show up because there's different type of traders that are coming in here. Some of them are going to be develop into great, if they're with the right camp, so to speak, the right prop firm, they will develop into great traders. I know you came from a couple great firms that helped develop traders into being great. With more people coming into the industry, you're going to find these talented
You'll get
outliers.
the Michael Jordans.
You'll get the Michael Jordans and everything. And we're starting to see that. And it gets really exciting because that just means it's just going to attract more eyeballs and you're just going to attract more talent. And next thing you know, we have a league of just awesome traders that are at Topstep or at other props, and they're all getting better. And I think that is the cool part that the industry should need to head into.
Let's say they're getting these payouts, they're starting to do well. Why not then trade your own account? Or do you think, hey, look, we're here to start, you go trade your own account?
They do both. Like a lot of our big board funded traders that are live, that are knocking out the park, they all have options accounts. They have other accounts that they trade in. Topstep's the prop world is where you can go make money for trading, and then you can take that money and move it into your personal brokerage account and trade however you want. It's kind of up to you, and keep 100% of your profits, or be with, say, Topstep, for example, and keep 90% of your profits. So people do both, and they take payouts. The ones that take it consistently take a percentage of that payout and send it to their other brokerage account.
Got it. And so then for all the people that want to reach that step one day, you've emphasized patience, you've emphasized hitting singles. Any other common mistakes, any other things that you think would really help their trajectory? Like if you could speak to them, like what else would be in that? Well,
diluting the power of FOMO, like, fear of missing out. It's an opportunity making machine. The markets are, they're here every day. They've been here a lot longer you've been around. And your job is to be here as long as you can. That's why we have an always trade for the tomorrow type of like mindset that we always share. But I mean, diluting the power, like managing your emotions, because you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to take losses, and losses are ordinary, necessary part of trading. So you got to get comfortable with them, but not make them so they're so large that they're taking you out of like making the next trade decision like better than you did before. So yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing.
Yep. And so I guess also along that line, then when should someone quit? Because I sometimes get asked that, and it's a tough question to answer. I have my own views, which I'm happy to share. But yeah, when do you think someone can admit, okay, I'm not seeing the progress I should be? Because it's hard, right? We know it's a long learning curve. We know it's a high failure rate. It takes a lot of patience. But how much money should someone lose, or how long should someone go at it? And I know different situations, but what's the turning point where you say, hey man, if you had to give them the shoulder tap and have a discussion with them?
I think it's for us, it's very hard to say, hey, stop trading.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very hard. But like, say we're only going to allow you to trade one account at one time a month. That's what and that's our way of saying, hey, we're trying to help you. Like we're trying to put you back on a path and giving you more accounts, or you flying through resets and things like that. That doesn't help you. So we have reach out programs that trigger if you have X, this or that happens. We reach out to you. We invite you to, a coaching session that we give for free. And then we just try to slow you down. That's really our goal that we're trying to do, is just slow you down. But it's like, who am I to tell you to stop? Who knows if you're about ready to turn the corner? Who knows if, like, I don't know what's going on in your head and you know, what your personal, where you are in your personal journey. But I can't take that away from them as far as like, hey, you can't like trade at all unless they violated like TOU or something like, you know, fraud or something like whatever they're doing. I don't know. But in general, like we want to be that platform because, again, I lost $90,000 straight to the market. That I failed quickly. I'd rather people slowly fail and then find out that they just did this for 10 months and they paid $50 a month. They spent $500. And you know what? Maybe that's their turning point or aha moment, that they don't have it, or they do have it and they know what to do the next time they go at it even better than before. I don't know, the love-hate business of trading, there's been a lot of times you wanted to quit to you know.
I was almost one of those, never was.
Yeah.
I was super close myself, so it's true. And so then, what's been your favorite success story of a trader? Is there anyone that stands out that means a lot to you?
People that are like, I paid off all my bills, or I bought this or that for my loved one, took my family on vacation, I got a minivan. They'll send us pictures of all that kind of stuff too. And it's super exciting because our vision here, just like any trader when they first goes into the trading world, you're doing it really using trading as a vehicle to a better lifestyle, you know, because you're like, I can work for myself, I can make as much or lose as much as it's up to me. So that lure is like, I can take so our vision is to be a path to a better lifestyle. And we're starting to see that show up at a pretty fast rate because a lot of people, we have 5,000 people a week that are taking payouts. You know, average payouts like $2,500. So $2,500 coming to that many people a week, and they've all earned it. You can do a lot of things. You can cover $2,500, covers rent, you know, depending on where you're at, covers a car payment, covers groceries for a while. And those are just the basic, you know, necessities, and it can help you with that. So to me, that's the most exciting part, is that you're actually seeing it helping in all different little stories across our community.
Beautiful. I love it. And what's your proudest or favorite moment on your own journey? Was maybe your best highlight from your trading career, or is your best moment from running this firm and building?
Well,
business?
I'm most proud. I am most proud of like starting. I know at the time there was nobody doing what we were doing. When Topstep started, there was prop firms that you could go to Chicago, sit at their desk and trade on a simulator like I did, but nobody was allowing anybody in the world to do this. And I remember thinking, like, regardless of age, sex, race, religion, nepotism, anything, that doesn't all matter. It's showing you can trade on the field. So that just giving that opportunity to folks and taking the simulated world from just demoing the platform or trading a little bit to actually real purpose of trading on a simulator. So you're kind of going at it more safely than the option was before of like me, $90,000, and I just didn't do it safely. There's no other option to do it safely. And simulated world wasn't really like very popular, and online trading really started taking off in 2010 and beyond. So it's being a part of that and making the switch from the trading floor to developing and finding trading talent was the goal in 2009 when we started Patak Trading Partners, and now that Topstep comes out. So that to me is to give back, because I traded really well. I got myself from a retail trader that then became a professional trader on the trading floor to that lifestyle that I wanted in the city, and condos and a penthouse and all that kind of. So I was doing all that by like 30, and I was just really proud about that. And I'm like, that's when I had the whole mini-me conversation. What if there's gonna be more talented, more disciplined, and we create a program how I learned with the firm that put me on a simulator with a one lot. And that's really that whole thing. I've been a trader my entire life. I've only done one thing since 1997. I've been a trader. Went to college, and other than that, I bartended a little bit in Chicago, and that was while I was clerking for a trader on the trading floor too. So I just know the game is the most amazing game that I've ever played, and I treat it like that because it makes it more fun, and it's the one thing I've ever done. And now to be around people that have the same passion, whether they're working at Topstep or they're in our trading community, or they're one of the top traders that we have on Topstep TV that I get to talk to about how they're seeing the markets and that to me is the most fun because I'm still on my passion swim lane.
Got it. No, I love that stuff. And I think all that's so true, where I was speaking to an investment club at Notre Dame last week. And to this day, I would argue that Wall Street and the trading world is one of the most beautiful, meritocratic places in the world.
Capitalism at its finest.
Yeah, and it's so true, where even though there's been so much influx and everything else, like I know that Chicago trader that is now a multimillionaire, despite his background. One of my really good friends did not go to college. He was building swing sets, and this was before even electronic trading, and he started just charting stuff by hand and ended up becoming an immensely successful trader. And you have all these stories of people that didn't go to college, people from all walks of life.
It doesn't matter where you're from. You actually have this opportunity in the world of trading, active trading. You have the opportunity to go out there and prove yourself to yourself and to your loved ones, that you can go out there and be a professional trader. That's to me really cool. And the reason why I wanted to be a trader was that whole, like, it's yours to go eat, you eat what you kill.
Yep.
You can go out there. It's you. It's, your decisions each and every day, and you get instant feedback. And what are you going to do with that feedback? You're going to roll it into better decisions going forward. And how do you stay regiment and routine and disciplined and all that? And that's why we always compare it to professionals, professional athletes that have to put in the time, and then it shows up on the field. And then you see that with traders that do that too. So to me, I love trading. It's just really, really fun.
What's wild too is, even thinking about this globally, there's so many people in developing countries where your hourly wage is $5.
Yep.
Your hourly wage is $10. Your chance of formal education is zero. Your chance of getting a nice office job or whatever else is very, very low. But the beauty of today and technology and AI and internet and where everything's going is, it's such a level playing field. You can be a 14-year-old in India. You could be...
Well, I have an example. I was in Kenya a couple of years ago, and a trader found out, I think a trader found out I was there, and he's out of Kenya. He just got $12,000 check from Kenya. And when we went out there, I have 3 kids, so we had some help to help watch the kids, and it was like $16, literally $16 a day for a nanny to help you. And I'm like, $16 a day? I thought it was $16 an hour. And my wife's like, no, $16 a day. I'm like, oh, okay. And I met that trader out there who was from the similar village that she was from, our nanny, and he had just taken $12,000 from trading with Topstep. And I met him for dinner, and it's just like, he's like, it's completely changed my life. And he just he's like, well, how'd you hear? He's like, I stumbled upon Topstep, and I just started trading, and I learned literally by doing.
Yep. No matter what your background, like you can learn any of this stuff on the internet. And
I think it's just scratching the surface, because it's an opportunity that doesn't interfere with your 9 to 5. Typically, you shouldn't be trading. I would say try to keep focused.
There's definitely people out there that have Topstep up,
and it also fits with the gig economy. We see a lot of call it Uber drivers or people that have that are contractors on the side for something. You see them, and they're trading as well. And it's just a fun. It's like playing chess. It's like, every day is a challenge, and you want to win, and you want to get better each day. So I just see it scratching the surface.
I mean, it's even to that point, it's so true. Where even at my building in Miami, a lot of even if it's some of the valets who are like my favorite people in the world, these guys are all so awesome, and I just love them all, and they love me because they follow my content and stuff, and like. There's been this boom of trading, and it is like a beautiful world where even at the worst case, you're at least learning finance, you're learning markets. And even in the older generation, like if I think of like my mom, for example, there's so much just market ignorance, and more than ever, like finance and bringing markets to the people has been democratized.
Yeah, because I never learned in college how to trade at all. And I did economics at Iowa State with an emphasis on commodity pricing analysis. And it was like, they didn't put me in a simulator. We didn't how does price discovery happen? How's the auction process? None of that stuff. So having that now and the ability to understand it, again, without a safer way than that was out there prior, is to me just where the scratching the surface, where like you want to get in an airplane and fly. Here's a flight simulator. Just show once that checks off, then I'll cover your fees and I'm backing you as a pilot. You know, like just show us you can do it on a safer like avenue. So it gives me a look as a prop firm on how you're trading, gives you a look on your own trading, and then we meet that opportunity in the middle. I
love it. Before I hit you with the Lance lightning round.
Ooh, I like this.
Make sure you're well grounded there.
Okay.
Any final comments you want to say to anyone? Any misconceptions or anything you want to say while I quickly think up 5 questions to hit you with?
I mean, go back to, I just think the prop industry is absolutely what the industry needs for those folks that need a safer route into the markets, better preparing you for live trading, almost pre-qualifying you to manage risk, whether it's your own capital or somebody else's. That to me, I'm still a very strong believer in the market. The industry needs this, or else your participants aren't getting the experiential education and they're risking a lot more than they should really have to. So that to me is I think really valuable to stay focused on the good that it provides too. There's always going to be bad actors that pop up and all that kind of stuff, I think, with any industry, and those usually get flushed out, but it just keep grinding away at the good fight, and the good fights is helping people become better traders without risking as much as they could going straight to the markets with their own, kids' capital.
Yeah, and I think the final thing I'd say on that point is all of these topics generally, like I had my own preconceptions, I had my own biases, and I think there's going to be a lot of people and trolls and haters and everything else that will do the same. And I think it's so important to have an open mind and recognize that like most people out there, like most people aren't bad actors, and there's probably a second opinion and a different viewpoint. Like even if you look at the current landscape today politically, whether you're left, whether you're right, like the more interesting point to me is like, okay, let me just hear what they're saying and better understand the viewpoint they're coming from. And then that's how you can like open up and learn and get it. And that's why I guess before I hit the lightning round, like I'm thankful for you for that active immaturity where you're like, Lance, let's have a...
It was very tense at that. I'm like, well, how do I handle this? Because I want to talk to him about this and I want to understand what his concerns are too. And I want to share like why I believe this is good, at the same time what do you believe is bad, and how do we? So I think we had a great conversation. To me, that's what I enjoyed. That's what I wish. If I want to take anything away and say, hey, I wish the industry would keep talking like that. What is? And then if it starts working together, they all start understanding here. Then I think it strengthens the community of active traders.
And like one thing I think a lot about, even just beyond like that stuff, is I think something kind of breaks at scale of the internet and like anonymity and everything else, where you lose the ability to just have the one-on-one conversation where it's like, hey dude, that's just, flaming me in all my posts. Like, what's up, man? Like, why are you so angry? Like, what's your perspective? Like, how can we better understand this? And I think if my challenge to the user or the audience is for all this is like, whether it's about anything trading related or life in general, like the ability to just take a breath, hit pause and say like, okay, rather than react and be angry and divisive, let me better understand the other side.
And if we can get more of that, then I think it goes in a beautiful direction.
World's and it's a better place.
It's a world, and it's refreshing. And I believe it's happening. There's just some turbulence along the way. It's like always.
I love it. And now I've stalled long enough to hit you with the lightning round. Okay. So I was in Chicago 10, 11 years. So I need to ask this, being a big foodie. Favorite restaurant in Chicago?
Joe Snow Crab. It's my hands down. I'm going tomorrow. I'm taking the guys who've been with me for like 10 years, helping build Topstep. Some of the big names like John Hoagland and Eddie Hornet's on there, and Andre's going to be going on there, and Mick, who goes on Shoulder Tap. These guys are, so Joe's hands down.
Okay, have you done, because I know people might be curious about mine, have you done La Scarola?
No, I haven't.
All these years in Chicago wasted, all for nothing.
I have not done La Scarola.
Okay, Grand Avenue, La Scarola. You need a reservation. You still can't get in on time anyways.
Really?
The best Italian in the city, coming from the New Yorker right here.
That's on which street?
Grand Ave, like kind of River West.
Across from Dawson?
Yes.
Yes, I've been there.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, okay.
All right. So fire. I love all their stuff. And also, if you haven't tried it, Asador Bastion, Spanish steakhouse, in River North, kind of a couple years new.
Okay.
That's like my favorite
Okay, a couple
high-end.
years new. I haven't been around in a couple years in Chicago as much, but I've been 17 years here prior. So I know that, yeah. So I'm going to try that one out.
Okay, then we're going, I guess, Cubs, White Sox.
Oh, Cubs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, come on.
Then
Come on.
favorite vacation place you've ever been to?
Lamu, Kenya.
Wow.
Lamu, Kenya. It was beautiful. It's just an incredible. It's on the east coast of Kenya, and I think it's the oldest Swahili community. It's just incredible.
Cool. I love that.
We fell in love with it, and I had my 3 kids and my wife there, and yeah, it was a very different experience. For
I've not been to any part of Africa, and now you've just upgraded that to the top of the
It's
list.
just great. I mean, everybody's like barefoot, or like there's donkeys that are carrying like bricks to build buildings. Like it's very like it hasn't been developed quite yet, but it has such a unique and detailed look in all the work that they do. It's just, I don't know. You have to go. Lamu is my favorite.
When I go, I'll hit you up for Rex.
Okay, very cool.
So then you can't be involved in trading. What job are you doing?
I'm a scout for a NFL team.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And then final Lance lightning round and the final question of this podcast interview. What is your hope for the world?
What is my hope for the world?
Not just trading world, but what would you like to see happen in the coming years, technology, everything else?
Well, my hope for the world in general is that everybody tries to pay it forward a little bit. So if everybody's helping out just a little bit more than they did, I just think it becomes a better world. Just a little bit more. Just pay it forward, open the door for somebody, say hi, things like that. I think they go a long ways, and they reconnect us back as human beings. That's my little take.
Well, everyone, there you have it. I'm going to be hiring Michael to work for my nonprofit, which that's essentially our whole mission. It does probably not pay as well as Topstep. Nevertheless, thank you, Michael, for being here. I hope you all found this conversation super useful. I appreciate the open-mindedness. I appreciate the support. And as I always say, let's get back to work and just focus on our trading game, getting better every day. Thank you all so much.